I've listened to the words of Max Allegri in press conference for the game of tomorrow, Cagliari Juventus, and I need to say that I will go through the important things, not everything, but the highlights, and I will stop a few times because he said the super important things about Federico Chiesa, Yildiz, Dusan Vlahovic. The three of them are super important, at least the way I've given an interpretation to what he's saying. And I need to say that I'm not totally against what he's saying. I don't believe that he's totally wrong on what he said about the three different players. But I'm really curious to read your opinion about it. So put it here in the comment section as usual. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you're all doing well. I told you this morning there will be a second video where finally we can speak about the field. This morning we concentrate on Cristiano Ronaldo, the Cristiano Ronaldo case, so if you want to you can go back and watch it. Otherwise, if you already watched it, stay here, remain here, because we'll speak about some important things, and not about ex-players but about players from this team that we are counting on also for the future. Opinion of Max Allegri, answering the questions from the journalist. Okay. I don't know if I asked it already, but maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe. And now we start with the easy things about the game of tomorrow. He said Cagliari is a tough team. Cagliari is a team that is scoring a lot from the bench. They are using the players that they have on the bench, and especially in these last moments. Guys, it's totally normal. Cagliari is a team that is fighting to avoid relegation. We saw what they did last week against Inter, but a lot of relegation team, when they still believe in it, I'm not speaking about Salernitana, but a lot of team, they give that extra sauce. They like it. It's the last chance. It's now that we have to give everything. And when you have an experienced coach as Claudio Ranieri, well, we understand what game it will be tomorrow against Cagliari. Will we play with our best formation? Max is confirming, he's saying Coppa Italia, because don't forget, on Tuesday we play Coppa Italia. We said that's another step. The most important one is the one of tomorrow. And he's totally right. First of all, because we have an advantage of 2-0. Which means nothing in football, but it's an advantage of 2-0 against Lazio. Secondly, because now, what he said, and he's correct, every game counts double points. Because if you win, you have 3 points, but it's one game less. You can even nearly consider it at 6 points. So it's a capital game. And I hope that tomorrow we play with our best team. I hope that everyone that is fit and ready to play, and the best possible team, they are there on the field from the first minute. Then if we are winning, if we are doing well, let them rest. If we have some subs on the bench, otherwise you play them. And then on Friday night, after a triple whistle, you start thinking about Coppa Italia, but not before. Now, the surprises, because he didn't mention it in press conference, but Miretti's out. Discomfort on the big toe. Big problem? Absolutely not, but it's a strange season for Miretti with high peaks and then low dips. And I'm not speaking about performances, but really about appearances. Sometimes you see him like 2, 3, 4 games in a row playing, and a lot of time as a starter, and then he disappears for 3, 4, 5 games where you don't hear about him anymore, not even entering for the last minutes, and it's always like that. Present, not present, present, not present. Well, this time he will be not present at all. He didn't travel because of that problem. That is not really worrying. Another one, but we already knew, it's Keane Moise that is out because of a slight sprain on the left knee. We'll recuperate him, even if we have to admit that in the last game after injury, when he came back, he was not fantastic. A player that is another surprise that is this time back, it's Arkadiusz Milik. Nobody was counting on him, but I believe really that with only Chiesa, Yildiz and Vlahovic, having someone just to warm up, to make Claudio Ranieri doubt about a possible change can be, even if I'm not really counting on Milik tomorrow. He said that he has 2 doubts. The first one is Szczesny or Perin. That's another beautiful surprise. Szczesny is at disposal, he's traveling with the team. Not sure if he will start. That's the decision that he will take tomorrow, but I don't have problems with that decision. On the other side, Chiesa or Yildiz. So we will not see tomorrow Vlahovic, Chiesa and Yildiz like a lot of people are asking, but forget about it. We have a few games to play. I don't believe that from the start we will see these players, except of maybe if the qualification to Champions League is already reached. Now, we enter the individualities, the core of that video, the important thing of the video. The question was about Szczesny's comments a few days ago where he said, I've bet with my friend, we spoke about it, and I told him that from now on, until the next 5 years, Kenan Yildiz will be nominated for Ballon d'Or at a certain moment. The question was to Max to ask him, what are your opinions? And again, he spoke really well about Kenan. If there is one thing that is totally true, is that Max always spoke well about Kenan Yildiz. And especially in the beginning of the season, before the hype, etc., when he was speaking about him, he was really smiling, and you saw, the light in his eye. When you're speaking about the one that you love. Well, that was exactly the same. Well, he said, I really wish that Szczesny is right, especially for the kid, especially for Yildiz. He has immense, great technical qualities. I really wish him for a great career. That's what I wish for him. He has everything to do it, but of course, it's totally normal that every player, like every player in the world, they all have their own path. It's step by step. Some are faster, some are slower, step by step, which is totally correct. And then he continues saying, of course, winning the Ballon d'Or, that's a difficult thing. He didn't say, no, he will not win. It's a difficult thing to win, to actually put everyone again with the feet on the ground. Of course, when you speak about Yildiz, you need to speak about Chiesa, and that's where the journalists are jumping on. What about tomorrow? The alternative. Chiesa or Yildiz? Yildiz or Chiesa? He said, look, is he an alternative to Chiesa? Well, tomorrow I need to decide who to play, but it's true that both of the players, they are playing in the same similar positions. Chiesa, Yildiz, they are more or less in the same roles. Even if, and pay attention, that's an important one, Chiesa could potentially also play on the right. But it's true that in recent years, he played more on the left. And that's where I really stopped the video. Because he's not saying Chiesa is playing as a second striker. Chiesa is playing as a seconda punta, like we saw in the beginning of the season, in that real 3-5-2 with really two identified strikers that were more central. If you go back to the first 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 games, that's where the position of Chiesa was. So I'm going towards saying he's playing more on the left than on the right side. And it's true, huh? Because that I consider a false myth that Chiesa is playing too much out of position. Probably he's playing in a 3-5-2 that is out of position in terms of the formation lineup. But then on the field, in terms of position, how many times did we speak about it? If you're looking at the heat maps, Federico Chiesa is always on that left side. Always. Of course, it would be better in terms of performance for him to be better on the field if we are playing a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3. Let's say a 4-3-3 would be ideal for Federico Chiesa, like he's playing with La Nazionale. It's true that in that 3-5-2 it changed slightly, but looking at the heat map, that's what Max is saying. He's playing on the left, but it's true that he's playing on the left. So that false, fake, strange myth, Chiesa is not doing well because he's playing out of position. I would limit it to yes, but. Now, it's not over. Spoke about Chiesa, about, of course, the post-sub complaints when he went out of the field and he said, like, I'm always the first one to be subbed out. He said, look, it's totally normal. I've seen worse in my life from other players. As a coach, you're always doing the sub for the good of the team. But I'm happy when these kind of moments happen because that shows that they want to play, that they want to play more because they feel that they can do something. By the way, in the first 15 minutes of Torino-Juve, he actually did really well, also with an assist, etc., etc. So he said it's not a problem, but I knew he would say that. But the interesting part is when he's saying the difficulties or certain difficulties of Chiesa this year, well, we knew it, we were aware about it in a post-injury year. The injury is from a long time ago now. Last year was, according to me, the post-injury year. Last year, I told everyone, and people were insulting me. They were saying, Beppe, why don't you put Federico Chiesa in your starting lineup for the season 22-23? I said, but Chiesa, we will not see him. We will see him really late. Moments of peak, and then he will disappear because it's totally normal after a huge injury like he had. Well, he's speaking again about that post-injury. So how long does it take for Chiesa to be 100% back? I always said, physically he's okay. Mentally, not yet, which is sometimes normal. We saw big players, Alessandro Del Piero, for example. They need 2 years to come back. People often forget about it because they remember the pre-injury. They remember the last part of the career of Del Piero, but they often forget a really tough moment of Del Piero, like 2 seasons long, where there are certain moments he was scoring only penalties. That's it. So, we are still in that phase of Federico Chiesa. He said, we are aware of it now. And that's super important. And that's what I told you a few days ago. I made 2 videos about it. And he said exactly what I said. But it's normal that Federico needs to pretend more from himself. What did he say? He said exactly the same as I told you, I believe it was 2 days and 3 days ago. I agree with everything. I personally agree with everything. Out of position, we can discuss yes or no, the relation, the way that we are playing. It's all right. But there is one thing that is fundamental and nobody else can decide it. It's himself. Asking more from Federico of what he's showing to us now. And I was actually quite happy of hearing Max saying this. Why? Because that means that at the moment Federico Chiesa probably is not at his max level. Mentally, but also from what he wants to give to the team. So I hope he finds the way to come back and to give everything that he has, asking more from himself. And when you are at Juventus, every single day, you need to ask more from yourself. One day I was extremely angry with Paulo Dybala when he said, I need to prove nothing to nobody anymore. The day that you retire, then you don't need to prove anything to anybody anymore. But as long as you are in a club, a performer, a player, you need to. Look at Messi. People are starting to joke him. Look at Holland after a fantastic season. People are, it's a fraud. And you see this kind of every day. What you did yesterday, it's in the museum. But it's over. Huh? You need again to do it. And that's why I was really happy with these words. Let me know what you think about it because it's an important thing. But then he spoke really well about Chiesa, telling Chiesa is an important player for our team. Chiesa is good. He has great qualities, etc., etc. For tomorrow, he will decide if it will be Yildiz or Chiesa. Today, I would put a Chiesa starting over Yildiz again today. But that's my 50 cents on it. And then the last part, and we don't have to forget, is about Chiesa and Vlahovic, where he's saying, where are they in their career? What kind of player are you? So it was an answer to a question. He said, according to me, they are really good players with potential to improve and become great players. Chiesa is 26 and he's entering in the best moment of his career, the best moment of an athlete. Vlahovic is a 2000, so he's a bit younger. He has a bit more way to do, but he's growing extremely well. Both have a beautiful future in front. So he's speaking really well about the future of both guys, saying that Chiesa is a bit more arriving to the maturity of an athlete, but then he spoke, according to me, better of the growth, the evolution of Dusan Vlahovic, especially in terms of maturity. That's what I understood of it, and that's what we were speaking about since 2024. Of course, he missed one game there with the reaction that he received that red card. Sometimes he still goes out of the game. You can't be a perfection from one day to another. But I saw a huge different contrast from Vlahovic 2022, Vlahovic 2023, and the Dusan Vlahovic of 2024. And that's what I also felt in the voice, in the eyes of Max Allegri. While for Chiesa, he spoke well, but it was a bit more political talk, I think. Putting a bit more responsibility on him, you know, with when he was saying a bit earlier, he needs to pretend a bit more from himself. Now, these were the words on Dusan, and I think that it's true. Dusan made a big evolution. On Yildiz, shining star, fantastic, beautiful player, calma. And then about Chiesa. So let me know what you think about it. I think that I tried to give you a complete overview. Maximum like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve. Ciao ragazzi.